stay with us. We begin with stories. Currency U.S. President to contact naturalization exam for immigrants. In other detail, the federal government and some stakeholders have brainstormed on how to resume yam export to boost national wealth creation. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Ernest Omakile, gave hints on the government's plan at a workshop in Abuja. Represented by the Director, Department of Agriculture, Abdullahi Garba Abubakar, he said Nigeria is the leading producer of fresh yams. Yet, it is unfortunate to note that despite the huge production, Nigeria is nowhere in the map of countries exporting yam. Tertiary Education Trust Fund has expressed readiness to replicate innovation hubs projects in public universities and other higher education institutions in Nigeria. The Executive Secretary of TET Fund, Sonny Echano, made this known at the opening of TET Fund Alliance for Innovative Research Initiative in Abuja. In a statement, Echano said that TET Fair program was put in place in collaboration with Innovate Hub aimed at institutionalizing research and development in Nigeria. The TET Fund boss also stated that the TET Fair program is being conducted by TET Fund in collaboration with the Hub, a firm championing the advancement of science and technology education in Nigeria. And he pointed out that the program is designed to support the advancement of solution-driven research, innovation, and sustainable development in the country. And he also added that the one-year-long program is aimed at providing unique opportunities for academics and researchers in Nigerian universities in order to transform their ideas into market-driven solutions, including the development of fabrication of prototypes. President Muhammadu Buhari in Washington, D.C., has sought the United States support to achieve Nigeria's energy transition plan, which he said requires at least 10 billion naira to finance. This was as he argued that Nigeria became the first African country to develop a detailed energy transition plan to tackle both energy poverty and climate change. He also reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to generating 30 gigawatts of energy by 2030. National Identity Management Commission has stated that its enrollment, verification, and other identification systems are working optimally as the National Identification Number becomes mandatory to access all government services. The Commission, in a statement signed by its head, Corporate Communications, Kayode Adegoke, reassured Nigerians of the provision of top-notch identification services in line with the federal government's effort at providing a reliable, sustainable, and verifiable foundational identification system for all Nigerians and legal residents. The statement said in NIMSI that enrollment and issuance of NIN are free. Minister of Federal Capital Territory Mohammed Musa Bello has warned tax invaders of severe punishment upon conviction. The minister made the disclosure at an FCT Inland Revenue Service town hall meeting in Abuja. Bello warned tax invaders to be wary of the dire consequences upon conviction, and he urged residents and business owners to adhere strictly to the payment of their taxes to help further develop the nation's capital. The Federal Executive Council has approved the Finance Bill 2022, meant to support the smooth implementation of the 2023 budget. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, briefed State House correspondents at the end of the hybrid council meeting presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the presidential villa in Abuja. The minister, while stating some highlights of the proposed provision, said the finance minister will be transmitted, or the finance bill will be transmitted to the National Assembly for its consideration and passage into law.
Consultations. The bill that we presented before Council today has 5 focus areas, including tax equity reforms, climate change and green growth provisions, job creation and economic growth reforms, reforming tax incentives, as well as generating revenue and enhancing tax administration. The purpose of the tax equity reforms is to combat tax evasion and aggressive tax planning practices that some companies operating in Nigeria are involved in, but also enabling the utilization of ICT tools and using international best practice to assess taxpayers' tax on a fair and reasonable basis. This approval from Council, His Excellency, Mr. President, will be conveying to the National Assembly a request for the consideration of this bill.
The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning also got approval for a whistleblowing draft bill. Giving an insight into the bill, the Minister of Finance also said fighting corruption hung on effective protection of whistleblowers in Nigeria.
This memo has been reviewed by Council and approved with a provision to ensure alignment with the Evidence Act. The purpose of the whistleblower bill, operationalizing and putting in place a bill, is to strengthen the fight against corruption, to also enable protection for whistleblowers that provide information for use by government. That we found is that people are concerned about their safety as a result of providing the information. So this bill is critical to ensure the effectiveness of the intention of the whistleblower policy.
And other ministers who were at the briefing included the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Clement Agba, and Minister of Power, Abubakar Aliyu, and also other stories. Federal government has stated that the unabating clashes between farmers and herdsmen are threatening Nigeria's effort to achieving food security. The government is worried that despite the implementation of the National Livestock Transformation Plan, the crisis is yet to subside and has even taken a different dimension. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Dr. Mohammed Abubakar, while speaking at the Regional Summit of Human and Climate Security Challenges and Farmer-Herder Conflict Resolution, called on stakeholders to come up with new solutions to tackle the menace. According to the minister, the farmer-herder conflict predates the existence of Nigeria as an independent sovereign nation. It is a conflict that the previous and current generations of farmers and herders, especially rural dwellers, have come to know and manage properly using traditional methods. And now to some foreign news. President Biden's administration has planned to conduct a trial for portions of the naturalization exam which immigrants must pass to become U.S. citizens next year to try to make the test more accessible. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. The naturalization exam is a crucial step to an immigrant's path towards U.S. citizenship, potentially impacting hundreds of thousands of immigrants who seek citizenship annually. President Joe Biden signed an executive order at the start of his administration that included a directive to review the English and civic test for naturalization. In also sports news, Argentina captain Lionel Messi has confirmed that the Qatar 2022 World Cup would be his last. Messi has scored 5 goals and recorded 4 assists in the tournament so far as he rose to become Argentina's all-time goal scorer with 96 goals. After inspiring Argentina to a 3-0 win over Croatia in the semi-finals of the World Cup on Tuesday night, Messi confirmed to reporters that the tournament will be his last. And that's the size of the news tonight. But before we go, a recap of the highlights. Federal government set to begin yam exportation. Federal Executive Council approves Finance Bill 2022. We also told you that U.S. President Joe Biden is to contact naturalization exam for immigrants. And that's Citizen FM 93.7 News at 6 as edited by Lawrence Umoete. To listen to us online, please visit citizenfm.ng. I am Didiana. To stay with us, Super Citizen at Sunset continues in a bit.
Citizen FM Abuja. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Citizen FM Abuja. Now we be the voice of the people. Citizen FM Abuja. Now we be the voice of the people. Now